school is God's commandment. We will obey the Lord our Christ.
Young people who saw that there was hope in the Lord Jesus Christ. Somehow we felt in ourselves that there was something, but we had not seen anyone walk the path that we were intending to walk. Not that there were not other Christians, but the things that we were doing, the sort of job that was set before us. Evangelism, taking people to the far corners of the earth, was just not something we had thought about. And most of our testimonies would end in such as, I never thought this could happen to me. Or I never figured that I'd be standing before you this day. Or we'd say something like, I never thought that I'd travel to the far corners of the earth. Here I am, walking the streets of Paris, France, going to the Louvre museum that I had seen only in the books. And we thought, I never thought I'd do this. Somehow many of us had that I never thought inside of us. And now we see what God was intending. I never thought was too low for us. And he told us, why not? I thought it should be the case. I felt in myself, not that I'd supervised some graduating class for high school, but I did have in mind that I would be someone's major professor and that I would instruct him through his research project and help to award him his doctorate degree. I had that in my head. I felt that I was one person who could study and who could learn and could be that. And then we came to do this. And as I used to say, I never thought. Only for the reason I had thought of doing something in another area at another level. But here I am today, and I'm able to say with you, never say, I never thought. Because many of us have not been taught to think higher than where we've been. Our first group would say, we never thought we'd ride a bus. We never thought we'd own this. We never thought we'd be on television. And the thoughts that we put in you are thoughts that say, why not? And I heard the choir singing, and I looked again, and I looked again, and I said, what would happen? We used to always wonder, what would happen if we just could spend time together all day? Everybody was going to different schools. They got out of school. They'd come in. We'd come to my front porch. I'd start teaching. We'd start talking about various things. We would supplement the learning that they had from the high schools and the junior high schools. We'd sit together, and we would always think, oh, if we could just do this all day. Sometimes when we traveled on the road and we had to rush a group back because they had to be in school Monday morning, after we had spent such a beautiful and glorious and heavenly trip all weekend. And we would wonder, oh, you just wait. Oh, wait until the time. But our paths had not been synchronized. We say something entirely different to you. It's no more. What would be the product if we spent all day together? For Westcoast School exemplifies the product of when we spend all day with you.
I'm Julie, and I'm the first graduate of the Westcoast School, graduating class of 1990. I'm so proud of you all, and I take pride in your accomplishment and your achievement. And after tonight, you'll know what it's like to be a Westcoast School graduate. And I challenge each of you to hold up our standards high. West Coast, we love you.
Prepared for the next step.
Preparing for the next step.
For me, it was a dream fulfilled.
Graduation is a dream, my dream fulfilled.
Choices, inevitable for success.
Choices inevitable for success.
There are many choices that are set before us. We must know which to choose that will lead us to our success. Our success is founded upon the decisions that we make in our daily life.
This is the time to believe.
It's the time to believe.
This is a time to believe. A time to believe.
I stand before you today, a changed and grateful young man.
Being around Dr. Porter these past 4 years, I served. And while I served, I also learned.
You've never told me I couldn't. You've always told me I could. You believed in me while serving. I've learned how to love, and from all of your love, I too learned to love. And most of all, I learned to love myself.
Hydrogen and oxygen mixed, water is formed. When I, Carmen Jermaine Chester, combine with some very fine elements, the Westcoast School, its faculty members, student body, and of course, its founder and principal, Dr. Henry Porter, a candidate for graduation was formed.
W is for the wisdom that she has given to us.
E is for excellence, the high standards she requires.
S is for the spiritual knowledge we are taught daily. T is for truth, we stand on God's truth.
C is for concern that she shows for the community, church, and nation.
O is for obedience that she has taught me. A is for achievement. Achievement is our goal.
S is for stability in the time of instability.
T is for training up a child in the way he should go.
S is for salvation, teaching to all.
C is for consistency.
H is for honor thy father and thy mother.
O is for obey. O is for we do things decently and in order.
O is for open to things God has given to us.
L is for love. Through love we perpetuate the love of Christ.
Stately and serene she stands because God has called her. We love her because God has called us by name.
We did not choose ourselves, but God Almighty chose us. He put this task into our hands. Grateful to God because He trusted our parents and our teachers with the wisdom and the responsibility to raise us and teach us in the way we should go.
Westcoast, they said you would never be here, but here you are, born of a vision, born of many hard times, but like a fledgling eagle, one day you'll spread your wings far, and men will be able to see the goodness of God. Westcoast, I pledge myself morally, spiritually, physically, and mentally to a school who is established on God's principles and word. Westcoast is a standard to the world and a lighthouse to the nations.
Planning a good outlook.
The Westcoast School has taken a child and molded that child into a person with standards and goals, a person who is academically clever. Again, the Westcoast School has taken a life and instructed that life into an immaculate form of success. And again, the Westcoast School has privileged the world with one of its finer jewels, me.
A student is not a jar to be filled, but a lamp to be lit.
We are the light of the world. We are the light. We are the light of the world. We are the light.
And thus began my journey on the chosen path.
How do we meet present-day challenges?
This
is my plan for success.
I say to you, thank you, because now I have grown.
Achieving against the odds.
Greatness. Greatness, it is such a vast word.
Steps to greatness. The power of belief. The agents of change. Classmates, we are the future. Therefore, we must be agents of change.
I've been graced with the opportunity to speak of 5 things to remember.
I believe in undiluted education is the best type of education.
Undiluted education and its ramifications.
Undiluted education and its ramifications.
Undiluted education for me has meant seeing how a classroom on wheels can change my hard times and turn them into opportunities to change the lives of others in my predicament.
Undiluted education and its ramifications. Education is a tool for personal development and accomplishing goals. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become head of the mine, that the child of a farmer can become president of South Africa, and that the son of a mechanic aide and a maid could become founder of the Westcoast Ministry.
An undiluted education and its ramifications.
Be awarded high school diploma. High school diploma. And the board of the Westcoast Schools, and should hereby be awarded her high school diploma.
All the world's a stage.
As you like it, as I like it, I will be prepared, educated, and I will run faster.
All the world's a stage.
Act 1 of my life is over, and Act 2 is quickly beginning.
All the world's a stage.
With the world as my stage, I have a lot of room to do great things.
All the world's a stage.
Quasi-essentials in an age where non-commitment is popular.
From my observations, we're living in a world where people feel it's all right not to be dedicated to anything.
Quasi-essential in an age where non-commitment is popular.
They can also be unnecessary people that take up space in your life.
Quasi-essentials in an age where non-commitment is popular.
As I begin my study on quasi-essentials, I realized that most things that this modern day generation uses in our everyday lives are not essential for the betterment of our education.
Every year when we come for graduation, I always get a little misty and cry a little bit because I sit and I notice that this is the last time we'll ever have this same group of people here for this same purpose. Whenever a new set of seniors graduates and goes on to what they go on to do, the dynamics of the next class changes. We had a certain dynamics when September started, and we'd have a certain dynamics with the core group, the group that started this year off from September to June. Our dynamics will change. Next year we'll have a totally different dynamics. And I sit here and I cry because I miss the dynamics, because next year it'll be a whole different dynamics, a whole another group of children with their little problems and the little things that they want to learn and their needs that have to be addressed. So that's why I sit here, and it's such a time of reflection for me. And although that we celebrate here, and what we're here for is to celebrate commencement, it's also an ending, the climax of years of education. Some of you may feel a real glow of accomplishment, some an equally satisfying sense of relief, and some of you may feel a bit uncertain about what lies ahead. But guess what? That all goes with the territory. I'm a bit older than some of you, and I must confess that each day I begin with that same feeling, remembering the good things from the past, relieved that to have gotten through some of the not so good things, and wondering what's coming up next. That legendary baseball player, Satchel Paige, once counseled his public in these words: "Don't look back. Someone might be gaining on you." I'd like to amend that advice somewhat. Don't be afraid to look back, but try to look ahead with the advantages of past experiences. That, rather than to see whether or not someone is gaining on you, is why man was designed to be able to turn and to look in any direction. Above all, as you move on, remember that human attribute, the ability to turn around and to look in any direction. Blinders are for horses, not for people. If education has any one single purpose, that purpose and that goal is to encourage people to know how to ask questions and to know how to go about getting answers. It's not enough in life to be a good listener, a passive member of the audience. It's not enough to look straight ahead and never look around. It's not enough to breathe a sigh and figure that your learning days are over. The lucky individual is the individual that understands that learning never stops until he or she stops breathing. This is our commencement day, and it's only fitting for us to say to you, as we salute you for your accomplishments, that truly this day is just the beginning.
Can talk, then you can see Jesus standing by you.
Crown to be in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I got to crown to be in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I was gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it over to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I got to roll my bean in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I got to roll my bean in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it over to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I got to Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I got to Savior in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it over to my Jesus, ain't that good news? I got to crown the bean in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I got to crown the bean in that kingdom, ain't that good news? Ain't that good news? I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it over to my Jesus, gonna take it over to my Jesus, gonna take it over to my Jesus.